Welcome to White Glove Trucking, my channel dedicated to helping you use trucking as a vehicle to live your best life. My name is EJ Anderson, the long haul truck blogger, also known as the happiest, kindest truck in the road. And today I'm doing a video about a little comparison between my Department of Defense military loads that I've been doing in comparison to like the normal way I used to get my loads, which is off the load boards. I still do my loads off the load boards, but now I'm doing a combination of both. Okay, this is a little bit different because normally I try to like put this stuff together and try to give you guys information that you can use. Whereas this one, I'm technically still trying to figure it out myself. Like, are these Department of Defense loads worth it? Um, and so I'm kind of still working through this myself. So you just get to kind of work through it with me. Um, all right, so let's start with the good things. Let's start with the things I like about the DoD, Department of Defense military loads, right? Okay, so the first thing is direct shipper. So it's my first direct shipper. Um, Direct shipper, obviously you have better rates, right? Than if you're not getting off the load board where they're taking their cut, you have better rates. I am going to show you some rates later in the video toward the end, but just tell you right now that it's basically double. The rates were basically double what I would get off the load board. The second thing I like about a direct shipper is um, the schedule. So on the load boards, I don't know why they do this, but the loads are so tight. Like, I think maybe the vast majority of carriers out there, they want a tight load so they can pick that thing up, hustle, drive it, and then pick up another one. They don't want to delay, right? I am a little more of a kind of stop and smell the roses kind of trucker. So I actually wish sometimes there was more leeway in those loads. Well, that's one good thing about having a direct shipper in these military loads. Not all the time, but sometimes there's this window. And so I literally will have a whole window of a week when I could pick it up or when I could deliver it. And sometimes that's a really nice little perk. Like one time, for example, I was able to pick it up on a Friday. So I made that military load the weekend load, which it was perfect for a weekend load. It was a great, so just having that flexibility allowed me to do the commercial load board loads during the week and then save that military load for the weekend, which allowed me to better capitalize and maximize my earnings for the week. So that's one example. Okay. So the next thing I like about military loads is that they are a hedge against a market downturn. So I wish I had these military loads 2, 3 years ago. Like the market's picking up right now, but um, having these loads here, the ability to get these loads would be a nice hedge should the market turn down again. Because these rates, the military it's not going to stop. The military's always going to be doing stuff. So that is a really nice perk, even though technically it might not be that big of a deal right this moment when the market's hot. But it is a nice, comforting thing to have. Okay, next thing I like, it's interesting. So I think it's interesting. Going to the bases is interesting. It's kind of cool, seeing, all the military stuff that's going on, that's kind of cool. And I feel like I'm part of like the national mission. So I really like that. That's a nice, cool thing about doing military loads. The only thing I will say, I feel bad about this too, but it does give you a little bit perverted incentive. So at one point I found myself when the Iran war started and I was like, oh, I hope this war goes on kind of long. And I was like, wait a second, I can't be thinking like that. But it does give you a little bit, it kind of perverts your incentives a little bit. Okay, so that's one. And then the last one for what I do like is I like the potential it gives me with my company, right? So when you're just doing the solo thing, you're just solo. There's nothing, you can't really grow from that. But now I have a partner, so I have someone I'm working with. And when you have a business, when you get that second person, it actually is like 1 + 1 does not equal 2. 1 + 1 equals like 4, So what you guys can do together to grow the business, that has a lot of potential, even though we haven't quite done that yet, but I like the potential of that. I also like the idea of having this for when the time when I want to get out of the truck. I feel like this, obviously, on the load boards, I book it and I do it. And that's just what I do. But on this military stuff, I could see myself doing some of the administrative stuff, and maybe having a driver doing some of that for me. I mean, doing the driving. So I like the idea of potentially having a little bit of an enterprise that will be there when I am ready to get out of the truck. All right, so those were the things I do like. Now I'm going to talk about the things that I don't like. Okay, the first one, and it's a big one for me personally. I don't think this might not be big for a lot of you guys out there, but for me, it's huge. And this is, it feels like a job. So when I got came into trucking, this did not feel like work to me. I swear I would do this. Like I always tell people that most people, when they come home and they want to just sit on the couch in front of the TV, that's all they want to do. For me, that sitting on the couch and just watching TV is getting behind the wheel of the truck and hitting the highway. That's all I want to do sometimes. For me, trucking was like literally when I say my tire program, trucking independently retire early, I do feel like I was retired from because it was just so awesome trucking. But with this military stuff, it started to feel like a job. So it's a little less peaceful. Like I feel like there's more times, you know what it is? There's more times when I love when I have the load board stuff, right? And I can do a load and I know I'm just one load away from taking time off. Like in my mind, it's just maybe it's psychological, whatever. But when you know that all you got to do, you just one load away, wherever that load is, 1 day, 2 days. You know, I'm 2 days away from just be doing nothing. Um, I like that. Whereas the military stuff, sometimes it'll be like right now, for example, I have a load that picks up Tuesday, and I've had this load on me for like a week now. Like, so I've had to like maneuver around. I know I got this load. I'm kind of segueing into the next thing, actually. So I'll just start talking about that. But it basically is more hoops to go through, right? So when you have a load that's booked in advance like that, like there's three things that I've had to do, and I made a whole video about this. But there's three things that I've had to do that are kind of like make it more hoops to jump through. Number one, more deadhead. I've had to deadhead more to get to these loads to make sure I can service them. The second thing is weekend loads. So sometimes I haven't been able to do a full weekend load to make as much money because I had to pick up a military load on Monday. So I couldn't risk, not being able to get there. So which means I'm doing a load on a Friday, I'm booking a load straight there, even though that's only like 300 miles away. So now I'm there on a Saturday and I'm just waiting. Okay. So the weekend loads and then the positioning loads. That's the third thing that more hoops to jump through. Sometimes I've been all the way out west. And normally, instead of trying to go all the way west to all the way east, because it doesn't pay as much when you get like a longer load, I would just bounce around. I would do a couple states, then I would just like basically, I would do 4 loads to get back east that would pay twice as much than doing one load to get all the way there. So those are the kind of hoops I've been having to jump through a little bit. And then here go the last thing. So more costs, right? So I've got 2 more costs that I don't have on my commercial side. Dispatching cost. So because my partner, she helps me gets the load while I'm driving, she'll get the loads. And then factoring costs. So I hate factoring. I mean, I hate factoring. I got a whole video on factoring and how much it's terrible. But the military actually is a mandatory factoring. They use US Bank and it's like a 1.63%. So it might not sound like a lot, but I just don't like factoring. I don't like paying the extra. So, okay, so I feel like I'm rambling because I usually have the script and I'm just going off the cuff right now. But okay, so I said I was going to talk about costs. So this is probably the most interesting part of the video. Let's take a look at last month, so June 2026, and I did a little comparison between the military loads and the commercial loads. I did. Okay, so I'm gonna pull this up so you guys can see what I'm looking at. What I'm looking at here. So first thing, the most obvious thing you're probably looking at is the different revenue, right? So you got $15,150 for the military loads, and then you got $17,313 for the load board commercial loads. Now you can also see the big difference in numbers though and mileage. So I got that 15,000 from just 4 military loads. And it took 18 commercial loads to get $17,313. All right. And then you come down and You got so here's that rate per mile I was talking about earlier. You got $6.43 for the military loads. That's pretty good. And then you've got $3.23 for the commercial, which is also good. I mean, there was a time when I was getting averaging less than $2 a mile on these commercial loads, man, when the market was bad. All right. And so, but you've got some additional costs on the military side. Look at this. You've got that dispatching cost I was telling you about. And then you've also got the factoring cost. That's what the Syncada is, the factoring cost. And then I just took my total cost and I just divided it by the number of miles per unit. Like, so for the military, the cost was $2,362 in terms of my normal cost, and then for the commercial loads, it was 5,371. Okay, so then because of that additional cost, even though that rate per mile is so much higher, my net profit was only $7,075 for that $15,000 on the military side. And my net profit was nearly $12,000 for that $17,000 on the commercial side. And that made a difference of, look at that percentage. I mean, basically 47% versus 69%. So I mean, I just did this like 2 days ago and I'm still trying to figure it out. But, um, so yeah, that's just kind of interesting, right? Yeah. That additional cost just makes a big difference. So anyway, I thought that might be interesting for you guys to see some of my numbers here. I like doing the numbers. So, and I know maybe a lot of you guys don't. So I try to put these out there so you can kind of get an idea of, what it looks like, and you can maybe make some decisions based on that. All right. Well, I think that's it. So I still don't know whether or not I'm going to keep doing the military loads or not. I'm still trying to decide. I really just don't know if it's worth it. So I will keep running them for now, and I'll try to figure it out, and I'll let you guys know eventually when I decide what I'm going to do. Oh, you know what? I will say one thing. I just remember one thing. A lot of times you get offers to sell your company, right? To sell your MC number. And I will say, by having this military approval, this DoD approval, I would think that my company would be worth a lot more selling it now by having this. So that's one more little perk that I just thought of just now that I hadn't put on here. All right, that's it. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. See you on the next one.